Hey, Nick, it's great to have you here today. All the way here from England to sunny California.
Yeah.
You had a good flight over, did you? Or?
Yeah, it was good.
Good.
Yeah. It's a little bit more permanent than we originally planned.
A little bit more permanent. So
Yeah.
you're actually planning and going to move over to the States for a while.
Yeah, this is it. We've done the move.
Wonderful. Well,
we did the big one.
We
For the
really,
second time.
Great. Yeah, we really will like having you here.
Oh, thanks. Well, it's good to be here too.
Hear you playing away on the old 88s. When did you actually start playing keyboard? Was that your very first instrument?
Yeah, it sure was. I started when I was 3.
3 years old.
Well, you know the story. It was when I was a little kid and I was tall enough to reach up to play this. Well, I didn't know what was up there. It was just this table thing, and all of a sudden these things on the top, which were the keys, right, started making a noise. And I got into it. Mum lifted me up and helped me for about 3 years, and you know, I picked it up.
So by the time you were 6, you were rocking out, huh?
Almost.
Yeah. And then what was your first professional gigs that you actually did?
The first pro gig I did was with this bizarre character called Screaming Lord Such.
Oh yes, I remember Screaming Lord Such.
I know, he toured here with a Union Jack covered Rolls Royce.
Yes, I saw that in Hollywood. I remember seeing that.
Me too.
It was the white Rolls with the Union Jack painted all over.
Yeah, over the entire car, so it was a red, white and blue Rolls.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that was great. And what year was that about?
68.
That was 68?
Yeah. Oh, that was when he was over here.
Yeah, I thought it was earlier.
For me, it was 1960. Now, that was his first band. In fact, everybody who was in the band, including Such, it was their first band.
I see. And that was your first time coming to America then? Or?
No, I came to the States. When did I come? First time was for a holiday in 66.
I see.
But the first time where I did any playing live was in 68 with Jeff Beck.
All right, yeah. So do you look at those like the good old days? How do the days then fare with these now?
I think those days have stood up amazingly well because, you know, as you well remember, we did each record album we did, and then it was done, and then it was, oh, well, what's the next one going to be like? And we'd get on and do the next one. It was never with any viewpoint of having made a record that people were going to listen to 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 25 years into the future. And yet here we are now looking back onto what's already called the golden age of music.
Exactly.
And I have to admit, being, I guess now, we're the ones who are considered the old farts, you know?
Yeah, right.
But it's funny, but I swear that our music was better than most things that are going on today.
I agree with you.
Good, all right.
Because I like the feeling and everything that we had then, and as we were just talking before we went on camera, the instruments that you had to work with, you were really playing more by the seat of your pants back then. You didn't have all the effects and gadgets and everything in the studio. What you played was what you got.
That's right.
Yeah, and you had to be a good player or else it sounded, you could hear the sound in the records.
Yeah.
And so then after Lord Such, what did you go on to next? What was the next?
The next was a band. We never achieved any fame, particularly, except, funny enough, with the Americans, because we used to do US air bases in England. A band called the Saxons. Then a band called Cliff Bennett and the Rebel Rousers, and they had quite a good name.
Yeah.
Cyril Davis came after that. Cyril was a blues guy, a phenomenal blues harmonica player who was with Alexis Corner. And decided to leave Alexis to form his own band. And I understood why, because Alexis was playing the right material, but very insipidly. And Cyril was a very aggressive guy who wanted an authentic Chicago blues band.
Yeah.
And he actually took Such's band. We had gotten pissed off with Such for some reason, and left Such about a month before. And then all of a sudden the entire band, except for Such, was backing Cyril. And we filled out the marquee every Thursday night to capacity, and then beyond. We had to fire people in complaining. We had to cut back the audience a bit. It was great. That was a good time.
Yeah. And what year was that, approximately?
63, 62 to 63.
62 to
And
63.
curiously enough, it was during that period of doing the marquee every week that I met up with the Stones.
Mm-hmm.
And
that was what year now, Nicky, that you met up with the Stones?
That's still the tail end of 62.
Oh, wow, that early then.
Oh, yeah.
I see.
In fact, they were just starting and we were just starting. We already had our audience. They didn't, so they were our support band. So we'd go off for a drink halfway through the evening. And then the Stones would come on.
All right.
Interesting.
Interesting, yeah, how things happen like that. So then how did you get involved later on with the Rolling Stones and playing with them? What year was that?
It was somewhat later. It was about 1967. Now they had, as I say, they'd become incredibly successful. And apart from, I think, their first album, all their albums then were done in the States. Until 67, there was a decent studio. Olympic opened there.
Right.
It was the first 8-track studio in England. So they decided to start recording in England, and I got pulled in because I knew them, and they liked what I did. And that started a relationship that actually went on till about 1981. Yeah, off and on.
Yeah, well, that was some good years there. Can you tell us some of the tunes that you played on with the Stones that were recorded?
Well, the very first one was "We Love You," which was the single that came out at the time of their busts, or the drug bust that went down.
Oh.
And it opens with a cell door being slammed, and all sorts of chains rattling, and then the piano starts.
Oh, boy.
God, She's a Rainbow, Sympathy for the Devil, Angie. I forget most songs of it. It goes through all the albums from Satanic Majesties up to You. So I think that's just about all of them.
Quite a body of work there.
Yeah.
And as we know, a lot of this stuff is now being reissued and it's being put out on CDs. And, they're doing that with my old stuff, thanks to a lot of labels in Europe. They've taken my Moo album and reissued that on CD, and it's just exactly what you said. I think some of that stuff still stands up today.
I'd love to see the Tin Man album come out, except I think I own the rights to it, so it may not.
You think you own the rights?
Well, I had this real sharp lawyer, back then, and got back to 72, and he set it up so that the rights came back to me after 7 years.
Well, great.
So theoretically, I own the album.
You should check into that. We're going to take a break right now, and we'll be right back.